Hi everyone, I'm Vlad Sparastoria and I share shooting knowledge on my channel. You rarely see hunting weapons here since I'm less interested in that topic. Frankly, it's clear that my interest is in surplus military weapons, but the Benelli ARGO was definitely a very interesting weapon that I wanted to try. Also because of its self-regulating gas operation. This gas system, which, according to the company from Urbino, guarantees excellent operation with various loads. It's a weapon used for hunting, but it's also very enjoyable to use, as we'll see during the live fire test. There's nothing else to say about its history from this point of view, as often happens with these somewhat more modern, non-military weapons. Maybe they don't have a history, at least not that I know of. So let's take a closer look at how it's made, because it's very interesting inside, especially the gas system. Then, of course, we'll try it out. And here we are taking a look at this wonderful piece. Benelli ARGO. First of all, as always, let's start with the markings on the firearm, which clearly say Benelli ARGO. And we also have on the barrel caliber 30.06 only, so don't try to use other ammunition. And they also remind us a lot. Reading the user manual is a very American habit, and I strongly encourage you all to do it. When you buy a firearm, read the damn manual, because the damn manual often contains important information for using the weapon. Firearms are different from one another, and they might have operating features that you absolutely need to learn from the manual. Besides maintenance and other things, the firearm is very well balanced. It makes abundant use of polymers here to lighten it a bit, which are also very convenient. Many people, especially hunters or more traditional shooters, prefer wood. But honestly, let's say polymer is a superior material. It may not be as beautiful as wood. But when it comes to the strength of the material, its lightness, and purely mechanical features, it is the superior material. On the other side of the weapon, we repeated the fact that it's made in Italy, made in Urbino, obviously the headquarters of Benelli. We also notice mounts for a scope on top and the iron sights on the iron sights. We'll add a little more, some extra information during the live fire test, because they're a bit unusual in some ways. I really liked it, but what you probably care about is taking a look at how it's made inside. Well, how do we do that? Clearly, we need to disassemble the weapon. We put the bolt in hold open. At this point, we can remove the magazine. Here, there's a button for removing the magazine, very close to the manual hold open of the weapon, as well as the safety. And clearly the trigger. Basically, the entire control group, the trigger group, is located in this position. So we remove the magazine. Here we have a 10-round magazine. I remind you that with semi-automatic firearms like this, you can't go hunting with a 10-round magazine. There are, of course, magazines with suitable capacity for those who want to go hunting. The 10-round magazine is more than enough for shooting, so it has been removed. We can proceed. We need to remove this handguard. First, we do this by unscrewing the handguard locking block here. This way it comes off and we can remove the handguard, which starts to come off. To continue disassembling, we need to remove part of our gas system. We can actually make use of it. That's what it's made for. We have this hole, and we can use the same handguard as a tool to loosen it a bit, at least to get it started. If I can manage the screw. Let's see. There, it's moving. Let's see if we can keep going by hand. No, we still can't keep going by hand. Then unscrew it like this. It's nice when it was better not to use tools, but as soon as you have to use tools, it's a nice courtesy that's being done. No, I still have to use the tool because maybe it's dirty. Let's keep going. This job. Let's see if it works. Hoping it doesn't, here we go. We can definitely do it. Unscrew it by hand. Here we are. This is already an integral part of the system, because from here, from this side, the expansion chamber is closed. Here we typically have as in piston systems, an expansion chamber that is part of this ARGO system, self-regulating in terms of the amount of gas that is supplied, which is supplied by this system. At this moment, being able to pay close attention. We keep our hand here, we close the bolt, and in this way we can remove the barrel and the entire bolt, the bolt assembly itself. Here we notice the heart of the ARGO system. We actually have a gas port with a rather interesting piston. In fact, we have a piston that's divided into two parts. This second part, which is just a rod, let's say a transmission rod, we could say, and this series of pistons, with in turn some grooves to let the gas pass through. As the gas expands, does it keep giving the same push, or does it stop giving the push? It's quite an interesting system. In short, if I use a round that's too weak, the system can adjust itself and give more push. Because it will take more time for the gas. It will take more time to pass through these specific grooves, which are typical of gas pistons. It's an impulse, in this case a longer one, while if the impulse gives a rather short hit, this part moves back quite quickly. And the gas simply vents out earlier. Actually, this ensures reliability with different loads. Maybe I should make a drawing to explain a little better how this works. It's not a new concept in theory, having a gas system that's self-regulating. Let's also take a good look here inside the trigger system. We can go further. The recoil spring is contained in the stock. We can pull the bolt back to this position, which allows us to remove the charging handle and thus completely take out the bolt. And the bolt carrier is pushed here precisely by this connecting element, which in turn actually pushes two rods that then push the bolt carrier. The bolt, which is rotating with 3 locking lugs, as is actually very typical to do nowadays in modern times. The bolts for these weapons, as you can see, the disassembly is not too complicated, not even a little too complicated, but it reveals the internal parts of the weapon. This system is unique and works well, as you'll see in the live fire test. Speaking of which, you know what? So let's put the bolt carrier with the bolt itself back inside the guides of the weapon. Here it is. We find it in this position, and in this position we can also put back the good old charging handle we've been using so far. Exactly, for Steve's compliance. To operate, to control the weapon's command, wait a moment. Where are you? Here you are. You have to hit the right spot. Otherwise, it won't cooperate with the entry. Here we are. We've put everything back inside, and right now, it's a good fit. Right now, we can pull back the shutter and let it go back in. The tail of the whole thing. I'll tell you something. Taking it apart was easy. Putting it back together turns out to be a little more difficult. By the way, it would be much easier if I didn't have to do it in front of the camera. Because I assure you guys, I don't know if you've ever tried to assemble these things. To take apart and put together these things in front of a camera. But I assure you, that's often the problem. Thank you, that's often the only problem that will make it. Unfortunately, our video camera died, so we're continuing with another one, but we managed by fighting through it. It's not the easiest thing to put back together, I'll tell you, but anyway, right now we can go ahead and put back the other part of our good old gas block here. Screw, 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 let's screw it in. There comes a point when it starts to get tough, we need to use the tool that's included. Literally the included tool. Literally the included tool. You can never lose it this way, even though I'll tell you, it doesn't bother you. Guns that can be disassembled without tools may be a bit more elegant, but that's not everything. It doesn't always have to be that way. Am I wrong, Orlando? What do you think? Does everything have to be that way? Life is like a field of Angoria. If you don't pick them, they go bad. Well, he's not wrong, Orlando. Am I mistaken? Okay. Closed. Now we can put our rod back and screw it in here. And here the weapon is reassembled. Let's shoot well, fire a few test rounds, and try the powerful 30-06, which is a very popular caliber, as many of you surely know, for hunting animals like wild boar. Quick note, we're using a 10-round magazine which can't be used for hunting in a semi-automatic. These Benellis also come with a magazine, in this case for the 30-06, with a capacity of 4 rounds. But as you can see, the magazine is quite massive. It has this polymer casing so we can insert it, and we just need to release the bolt lever. So the safety is quite interesting. The feeling is that it's much more, it seems light, it's not light, but it feels very, very light, and the balance is excellent. It's definitely a very comfortable weapon from this point of view. Let's see. There you go, the last shot goes into hold open. So, first impressions, very first sensations. I'll tell you something. It doesn't kick much. Actually, it dampens the recoil quite a bit for a powerful round like the 30-06. It also helps that it has a nice rubber buttstock here, soft, but I get the feeling it rises a lot. I mean, maybe it moves around a bit because of the rubber buttstock's size and shape. Just follow the reasoning for a moment. The energy of the shot is all that matters. It has to go somewhere. And if it's not going into your shoulder straight towards you, then it has to go somewhere else. Maybe it's a consequence of this fact. Maybe yes, maybe no. I can't tell you right now. But aside from that, it shoots very well. I'll take a few more shots and keep sharing my thoughts. Before discussing the sights, I want to stress something important. I often find myself maybe with people at the shooting range who meet me and say, repeating my words, maybe about a pistol or another weapon. Not understanding, not being able to distinguish my personal opinion the way I am from maybe a more technical evaluation of the weapon. There, I've said it, this important premise. Look at how far forward the rear sight is on the Benelli ARGO. It's really far forward. Also because many people would simply use the mounts for the optic, to put an optic on top. I really love having the sights far forward. I don't like a middle ground, especially with something back here. It's nice to have a diopter you can look through and see the front sight, but for example, I like Avtomat Kalashnikova style sights, which are still pretty far forward. It's really a matter of focal distance, which is also true for optics, and about how your eye can focus on the sights. Honestly, I prefer more distant sights. So actually, this very visible red fiber optic with this wide light is also very easy to see. It almost looks electrically lit, but clearly it isn't. And this nice green sight notch actually allows for a very, very nice view of the sights. Let's fire a few more shots. You know what? I'll tell you honestly. And coming to do this review, I mainly wanted to do it to talk about the gas system. And these things here, also because I don't go hunting, so I don't often deal with hunting weapons. Clearly, if you're a fan of the channel, you know very well that we deal much more with historical weapons, martial weapons on this channel. But a bit to my surprise, maybe wrongly showing my ignorance, I discovered something. You shoot exceptionally well with this rifle. One thing I enjoy is military surplus weapons. They're fun, but for pure shooting and range enjoyment, that's what really matters. I don't know about hunting, but it shoots amazingly. It shoots really well. It manages to make using it enjoyable and fun. With these features, it aims with an excellent trigger, a well-balanced weight, and a fairly dampened recoil, making it an absolutely pleasant experience. Let's try a few more shots. Orlandi, you're left-handed unfortunately, but everyone gets cursed with things like that in life. The gun, according to the owner, is left-handed and set up for left-handed users, including small details like on the stock. But go ahead, load it, fire the gun, and tell us what you think. Excuse me, you are really special, you?
Okay, no, I just needed to use a bit of courtesy. Actually, it's very comfortable, especially this shape of the stock that I use for the kick, not the butt stock. Yes, yes, go ahead. Beautiful, comfortable, aim, fast. True. It's really fun how you remove the magazine.
There's the release in front of the trigger.
Like this, yes, go ahead. Okay. So this rifle is made mainly for shooting quickly. These sights are designed for quick, possibly moving shots, so recoil must be low.
Of course.
Of course, it does it flawlessly.
Fantastic.
It does it perfectly. It really has this recoil, damn it.
Really?
Really, really, yes, but it's a 3006. This one, look, I think it's a mix between the gas system, the fact that it worked perfectly for me. Yes, it's very well balanced. Yes, it's not very light. What surprises me personally is that it doesn't have a threaded barrel, maybe to put a compensator, or in countries where it's allowed, a suppressor.
Yes, maybe. That's better. Also, some countries require you to go to
a hunting weapon, and so you would expect a threaded barrel. But maybe they do make it, just not for the Italian market. Yes.
Automat Kalashnikova style, maybe it's too far back to do that. And I'll tell you something, I gave you yours, but if I have to correct something, I have the impression that as far as I'm concerned, this stock is short. I mean, I have this hand here, but I wish I had it here, I'm telling you this. It doesn't affect the weapon's feel at all. Oh no, a big wild boar. It's really fun, honestly. I said no. I try not to be prejudiced, but it's clear that when I come to do reviews, we all have prejudices. We try the weapons, everyone has prejudices. I've found that I'm having a lot of fun. I'm really having a lot of fun. It's really a fun weapon. I didn't expect this. Thank you for watching. Remember, you make these videos possible, just like the owner of this amazing Benelli. Argo came today to the Siri shooting range in Pavia to let me try it. Without people like you, my videos wouldn't be possible. 99% of what you see is provided to me by you, or by some company or institution like shooting ranges and so on. I don't have this whole collection of firearms myself, so if you want to take part in my effort to talk about every firearm on the planet, write to me, I would be grateful. If you have any interesting pieces you can bring, either here or to Legnano, or if you want to help cover the channel's costs. Also, because with YouTube talking about firearms, you can't make a living. I work 40 hours a week, a regular job like everyone else, to support myself. Keep in mind, subscribing to the channel gives you access to exclusive content and helps pay for the shooting range here. You can also buy the channel's t-shirts, which you can show off to your friends on Sundays when you come to shoot. Also consider leaving a like, a comment, and subscribing to the channel. It helps a content creator like me immensely. From this wonderful Benelli ARGO. That's all for today. As always, see you next time.